Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to come out politics. In this video, I'd like to reflect on Boris Johnson's continued assertion that nobody has a better COVID tracing programme than we do in the world, when our closest neighbour, the Republic of Ireland, has become the latest in a long line of countries able to boast of a successful tracing app, which of course is absolutely crucial to an effective tracing programme. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, in the wake of the UK government having to abandon the tracing app that it thought it could develop by giving 12 million quid to a mate of Dominic Cummings, Ireland has recently launched their COVID tracing app, and it seems to be going rather well. Like all sane countries, they have opted for the suggested model of anonymised data, which not only means that personal data isn't being stolen, but also lower power consumption, which not only does this allow the app to work well, but also gives people the confidence to use it, which is absolutely crucial, obviously. Nobody likes to think that their phone is spying on them, and if they did, they just wouldn't install it. It launched on July the 6th and was reported as having 1.3 million downloads as of yesterday when I checked. That is over a quarter of the population so far, which is, you would think, proof positive that people are confident about it. Now, let's say that drinking buddy of Dominic Cummings had managed to cobble something together and it was released. The uptake would still have been extremely low. Now, the Irish system works well simply using Bluetooth. When in contact with another phone with the app installed, it carries out a handshake if that contact lasts for at least 15 minutes within 2 meters, thus filtering out someone you've just walked past on the way down the street. And that's, how it's recommended to work. That's, how these things have been working in other countries as well. It generates an anonymous key. So if you've got the app and you test positive for COVID, you upload that key and the system contacts everyone you're recent contact with for those 15 minutes. There's no individuals needing to know who it was or needing that data or anything like that. And then the people contacted can then take action to isolate and get tested. And as I say, the Irish app, it is working very well. And of course, that means it has the interest of others as well. So it's been adapted for use in Northern Ireland and Gibraltar, for example, whilst the UK continues without one. The last I heard, I say the UK, of course, what I mean is the rest of the UK, Great Britain. And the last I heard, it was going to be at least winter before we managed to get one. And there you go. And there's a double blow to the government's credibility on tracing. There was also a report came out yesterday that highlighted the UK government admissions that they broke the law in attempting to get their preferred test and trace programme running. So because the government keep telling us that they're taking the time to get their decisions right, and it's the right measures at the right time, but nothing could be further from the truth, by the way, then they really ought to be getting things right. They shouldn't be making the sort of mistakes you might make in haste. They have reacted from day one, though, in truth, bumbling from putting one political fire out to the next without any thought for a long-term strategy. They have never got on top of this. And their attitude to tracing was no different at all. We initially had one. It's hard to remember back now. We actually had one. We were doing it right. And then it was abandoned against all the scientific advice. I say all the scientific advice, all the sensible scientific advice, because Dominic Cummings quite fancied this idea of herd immunity, which would magically immunise us all without any cost to the economy. Ever since, they've been playing catch-up with a level of assurance that could best be compared to watching a giraffe trying to skate uphill. And once they realise that we won't ever get on top of this without a tracing system in place, you'd have thought they'd have had some humility over their failure and actually listened to the advice on how to achieve this. Not a bit of it. They bring in cronies yet again, shovel public money into wholly unsuitable and untested private hands yet again, and showing no regard whatsoever for the privacy rights of everyone whose data was to be harvested for this undertaking, because the government's preferred strategy was to use COVID measures as a Trojan horse for their more nefarious work. Dominic Cummings saw the opportunity to use the tracing system to harvest a load of our personal data for future use. Cambridge Analytica techniques all over again. So not only did they abandon the tracing strategy, allowing the infection to get madly out of control, of course, but when we decided that actually we are going to need one, they prioritised their secondary goal over what should have been the primary one, namely controlling the infection and allowing a safer easing of the lockdown. So The Guardian reported yesterday that as a result of a Freedom of Information request they made, that they were informed of 3 data breaches involving the public's personal data. Now, in 2 of these cases, it was related to Serco, which is one of the private companies involved in the tracing program. They sent out group emails inadvertently, resulting in the contact details of subcontractors being shared with people they should not. And the other breach, which I think is rather more serious, although it would involve fewer people. So a different private company this time, Ventrica, who were using someone's details, personal details. So someone who tested positive for COVID, and they were using them as like a test case for training materials in a video, but didn't redact the personal information, or at least not all of the personal information. Now, 2 of those breaches were not reported to the Information Commissioner's office. They were determined too minor, including that last case, which I wouldn't have thought was very minor at all. I suppose you might argue the risk is low that people watching that training video would first of all note down those details and then do anything with it. But still, the fact that it happened, and it absolutely should not have done and would not have done if there were any procedures in place to take account of privacy laws. And it has to be borne in mind, this isn't just, as Michael Gove might put it, good manners. That is the law. And there's still no evidence, to my mind, that the government is, even now, suitably humbled over their continued failures in this matter and willing to judge. There comes a point, surely, when you've tried it your way and it just fails and fails, you just sit down and you go, look, I was wrong. What do we do to put it right? You were right. I should have listened to you from the start. I'll listen to you now. What do we do to correct this mess in the best way possible? I accept that it won't be as ideal as if I'd listened to you a few months ago, and then we can just get on with it. No. But at least we can be happy that one part of the UK can avoid much of this mess. Northern Ireland get their app, based on the one successfully developed by the Republic of Ireland, in the next few weeks. Perhaps the Scottish and Welsh parliaments could follow suit with that as well. No reason why we should all suffer because of Conservative hubris. But there it is. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you find the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.